All right. Welcome. Today in the vise we are going to be tying a bloodworm apse worm. This isn't the proper apse worm, it's a variation. That's it. It's a pretty simple fly. It's quite a really good still water fly. All right, so for the flexy floss, we're going to be using Montana Fly Company, sexy floss in red, medium. The original fly calls for ox blood, which is a darker red, almost like a black violet red. And then for the flexi floss, we're going to be using, for the Glow Bright, instead of using Glow Bright number 5, we're going to be using Glow Bright number 4. Again, this is not the original proper apse worm, but this is a variation. It's a really good one though. The hook that we have in the vise is a Orient Sun number 12. This is their dry fly / nymph hook, wide gap. There you go. So we're gonna start off with the thread base here. We're just gonna wind a bit of it on the shank here. And I'm going to cut off my tag. Alright, now we're just going to continue to wrap our thread, touching wraps. And this one I'm going to go right to about there. That's not where I'm ending the fly, that's just where I'm ending this base of wraps. Okay, and I'm going to stop right around there. You got your pieces of flexi floss. I like to take my full strip of flexi floss and I just measure out 4-inch sections of it. So I have a little measuring tape on my bench down here. It's just not really a measuring tape. I took a measuring tape and I measured out 4-inch increments on my bench so I know where it's at, and I can just use that, pinch it, cut it, move it. It's a lot faster than having to try and get a thing out to measure every time. Alright, so now that we have our pieces cut, we're going to grab 2 of them. And you'll notice how if I bend them like that, they want to just flimp, they're really limp on one direction. And if I fold them this way, they want to kind of stand up right there. They're not going straight down. See how they straight down? Not quite so far down, right? So we want that up. We want the bend facing up. So we're going to get roughly where we think our midpoint is going to be. Kind of pinch it on there. Start it on the side of the hook with a loose wrap. And then when you pull it down, you see how it brought those fibers over together. Now they're both kind of facing the right direction. So I'll do it again. So now I'm down here on the side, the loose wrap, and then when I pull tight, they're going to kind of come around to the top. Now they're, for the most part, facing the right direction. So now what we can do is get our little 1.5-inch stick cut. Just set it on the middle here and just make sure that we're at least to our minimum on our tail and our front. See how I'm doing there? Pinching it down here by the hook bend, and then bringing it up. So I actually need to probably just pull just a slight bit back towards the bend of the hook there, and that looks about right. So now this one's sitting right where I pretty much like it. This one's trying to roll to the side. So you can take them and just kind of wiggle it back and forth and twist it in your fingers a little bit, and you will actually get it to roll in there. So let's see how that looks when I get a couple more wraps on her. It's pretty good. They're kind of going out to the sides instead of up. So I'm going to do is just twist this one around the hook there. And this one, the same thing. Okay, they're being unruly, so I'm going to start over here. get them off the side here. Okay. Loose wrap. I'm just gonna pull, oh, too much. There we go. Now I'm just gonna twist both of them. It can take some playing around to get this fly right. So just have patience. There we go. That one did it. Now we're sticking up. See how they're kind of coming up? They're not trying to come around to the back. Still a little bit off to the side on this guy here. There we go. There we go. There, see how they're... Okay, so now when I tighten this up, these are gonna... Oop. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna get our third piece of rib material. This is actually gonna be our rib material. So we want to start it right there. Nice loose wrap and pinch it down. Then before I really crank on it, I get that nub totally buried. Now she's all buried. Now I'm just going to take all three of them, trying to keep the two on the sides and the one kind of in the middle. Not on the sides of the hook shank, but just of each other. And we're going to give it a little tug as we wrap, not too tight. Need to tighten my vise. It's starting to wiggle on me. All right. Fairly tight though. Now we're going to come down the hook bend a little bit. Ooh. Just going to cover those blown out threads. All right, there we go. Now we're going to touching wrap all the way back. We can let go of those now. Kind of had a little bit of a thread blowout. I caught it on the hook. You gotta be careful of that. It'll get you. Okay. Should be all right now. A little bit of fuzz isn't gonna kill the fly. I'm pretty sure the fish won't really care that much. But I'll get it cleaned up pretty good. All right, there we go. Okay, so now that we're here, just gonna kind of do a little bit of work on this head. I just want to kind of make sure this is kicking up just a little bit before, there we go, before we come around here. There you go, play with those guys. All right. So what I like to do with this guy, because if I come over here, if we wrapped this way, so I'm going to counter wrap the rib. If I come around here like this, it almost always messes with this one leg there. Almost always. So what I like to do is I come underneath it. Make sure I got the right one here. Yeah, okay. Come underneath it and I just pull really tight. And as I pull really tight, I lift this one up and I just kind of pull on it. And I'm just trying to kind of move the position of the two. Now that guy should be nice right there. Now I can do my wraps. 1, 2. Oh, blew it out. That's all right. I think I'm gonna put that there anyways. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3, and 4. We're gonna capture that. Couple in front, couple behind. And scissors here. I'm just gonna grab that and I'm gonna give it a slight tug, not pulling too hard, and when I cut, it's gonna suck that little nub right up in there. Okay, I'm gonna back that off one. That just a little bit of a build on that head now. Just the slightest amount. Now we're here, we're just gonna go right into the whip finish. Move those out of our way. Okay, nice little 5-turn whip finish there. Should do it. Cut that off. Okay, so now we're gonna make sure our legs get where we want them to be using our little toothpick that I cut at 1.5 inches. I'm just gonna lift that up. Those ones are already basically perfect. Yep, those ones are perfect. You can see, put it right in the middle of the hook, and those should be right at the end. So those are perfect. We're gonna leave those ones completely alone. And we're gonna do that over here. Put that in the middle, kind of grab those up there. And then I like to make sure they're not pulled super tight. Just got a little bit of flex in them. And then when I cut them, I bring the scissors with me this way so that these don't fray out as bad. If you just cut, a lot of times you end up with a little frayed piece, which is super annoying. So the original recipe calls for super glue to be done around the body, which is the proper way. I have this super glue right now, which is not the proper super glue for this fly. It whites the flexi floss. So when it dries, it becomes like a creamy white. So you don't want that. It ruins the fly. So for now, until I get some Loctite, I'm going to be using my rock hard nail varnish. I've tied a bunch of flies with this. It seems to work just fine. It may not be quite as good as the super glue version, but for now, this is what I'm doing. I haven't had any issues so far, so fish seem to eat it just the same for me, so that's all that matters. Okay, get that body coated. If you're using super glue, just use the super glue, dab it on there, and then use your little piece of wood or bodkin or a needle or something and spread it around. And then it's super important to get these ends. Just got to give them a dab. Just a little dab will do. Same thing with super glue. Just imagine if this was super glue, you would do the same thing. Nothing different. The most important thing is that you need a really strong, not high build, something, either super glue or a really good varnish or something like that. And you have to make sure that the varnish that you have doesn't react to this silicone thin little legs. I don't even know if they're silicone, but they will react with certain things, so you got to be careful. But that's it right there in a nutshell. So enjoy this fly. Get them tied up. They're fantastic on still waters, and I'm sure that they would work under an indicator in a stream, just like